Viewer is Marion Weisberg, Lawrence, New York. And this is tape 2. So we were at your father's place of work and looking at what were some of the issues at the time regarding the limitations of activity against Jewish population. You were describing how you were noticing that there was less available work.
Less work, more unemployment, and we had to take some of our relatives to work for us because they lost their jobs. And the situation was starting to get worse, and we didn't spend the money as freely as we did before. But we had to give more tzedakah and donations and see that the poor people shouldn't starve.
Do you recall some incidents that come to mind?
That's yes, in the congregation in my father's synagogue, we had to go and help out and put up a kitchen for the poor people once or twice a week. Friday night, Saturday, more and more poor people came to our home to eat with us. And was starting to be sad.
What were you being sad as you recall what you were noticing? What saddened you?
That sad, it was because people didn't have income. And they were just, the mood of the climate was sad.
What would they talk about with each other as they were acknowledging the lessening of opportunity?
Well, the most question was, is it, whatever it happened, we asked, is that good for us? That was the conclusion. Is that good for us or is that bad for us? And we didn't know, every day another surprise came.
For example?
We couldn't plan. The laws against the Jews.
What laws stand out in your mind as you recall the slow erosion of your rights?
That mostly the schooling, that we couldn't, that was the highest diploma what a Jewish girl could get. The boys couldn't go to medical school, to law school. Everything was closed in front of our eyes. And my father lost his customers, and it was just, the economy was very bad.
In regard to any practice of the religion, of any public humiliation, was anything like that?
Day by day.
Starting
day by day.
What, for example, do you recall about?
They were beaten up. Christian boys, hoodlums. Day by day we heard they were beaten and pushed and screamed at.
Nothing happened at that time directly to you or any family members that?
No, because we were sheltered and we didn't go out and we didn't mix with them.
So you stayed more and more in
I stayed with my school friends and within the school. And when we went out, in the capital, people were a little bit more civilized. So.
Were there people that you recall who were friendly to you and in fact were trying to reach out to you at that time?
Yes. That's why my mother had a friend whom she later was very valuable to us because she saved my child. And so they were noble people, but very, very few.
Very few.
Very few.
And why do you think that was, that there were so few?
Because people were not nice. That's why. They were just fewer and fewer, and they were scared. They were very scared. They were scared to show us their friendship. Because
What
they
happened to
they
them?
would say, Jew, you are just you are a Jew yourself, or maybe you have a Jewish grandfather, and you're not one of us. You are one of them.
So humiliation and
The humiliation
shame
was terrible.
in respect to your looking at finding a husband, you mentioned before that you got married, so
Yes.
clearly there was a courtship and a meeting of a husband. How did that happen?
Well, I met my husband. He was a physician in Sziget, Romania, which was that time Hungary. And he came to Budapest. He educated himself in Budapest after graduating from the German University in Prague. He came to Budapest and specialized himself in the Jewish hospital in Budapest and set up his practice in Sziget. And then he came to Budapest to buy himself an X-ray machine. And it just happened somebody introduced him to me. And he liked me very much, and he was a person who made up his mind. If, as he said, when I see something that I like, I know that's forever. And after the third day, he said, "You're going to be my wife." And I left. I didn't want to believe it. And turned out he was very serious. And being 1941, end of 41, 42 beginning, he engaged me, and 44 June 14 we married each other. And just before the wedding, it was such sad time of our life, because he got invitation to go in the army, and he didn't know what to do about it, because our wedding was already planned and the invitation went out. And but he was lucky. They put him in an army hospital, and he worked there as a doctor, as a physician. And 3 days before the wedding, he went to his boss and he said, "I would ask you very, very much. It's very important. I should get 3-4 days off." And his boss said to him, "What is so urgent? What is that you want to have that leave?" He says, "Well, I want to get married." And he looked at him and he said, "Hey, if you're that courageous and you want to get married 1942, you allowed and you deserve to go." And so he came for 4 days and we got married. And then he stayed in the hospital for as a physician for 3 months more. And that time came a new law that Jewish doctors cannot treat Gentile patients, so they sent him home. And he said, "Well, I'm never going again to the army, and I see that they don't care if we live or they prefer if we die." And that was the end of his army career, but he tried everything all the time to avoid to go in.
So this was your marriage in 1942.
1942, June 14. And that was the big day of my life. And we were married 49.5 years until the day he died. started a new area. And just to show, he wanted to settle in Sziget, where he had his office already.
This was in 42, after you married?
After we got married, he was an established ear doctor, ear, nose and throat doctor in Sziget, and he wanted to stay there. But I went to my father and I said to my father, you just let me go, your only child will live far away from you. And I said, do something, please. He went to my husband and he said, why don't you stay here? City is more convenient, you can learn more and you can grow more and stay with us. And it's better to be in a big city. And right away he knew again that this is correct. And we went down to pack his instrument and he went to his mother, who was an elderly lady by then. He was about 70 years old, younger than me now. But I thought he was an elderly lady. And he said, Ma, I think I would like to leave you here. And although for my mother-in-law was very prestigious to have my son a doctor in a small town, he said, go, my son, and I give you my blessing, and just have lots of muscle, and you will do good there and do what it's good for you. And so he came to Budapest, and we set up a nice little home. And he couldn't practice yet because he didn't have the license in Hungary. So he started to go to the Jewish hospital again. And it already was 1942. I was pregnant by then. And we saw that he is never going to get his license under these circumstances, under that cloudy times what was waiting for us.
So how did you live then?
Then my parents helped us, and they also had already some saving, and he had a few private patients. People, when they met him, they liked him right away, and the people from Sziget who came to Budapest, they all looked him up, and he was able to practice in the hospital.
So during this period of time, we could say that you were living a semi-normal life. That is to say that you could work.
We also had. I was pregnant, and then in June '43, my son was born, and we named him Sándor, which is Alexander in English, and he was just a joy and pride and a beautiful baby. And we had another few months happy together with my parents, and we didn't live far away to each other. And my mother took part of bringing Alex up. And it was beautiful. We had a few friends. On Sundays we couldn't go out, so we invited the friends. Once a month we had like a musical afternoon with coffee and cake. And it went till March 19. We just had another circle of friends in our house, when I got a phone call from my mother, who was with my father in the city, and she said, please tell your friends to leave right away, and we are rushing home, and don't leave your house, because the Germans just marched into Budapest. That was March 1944.
So
already.
what happened?
So our I told my friends what my mother told me on the telephone. They all ran, and that day already, next day we found out that people were taken from the street to the secret police station, and some of them they didn't even see them again. They were just shipped out from Budapest. And we were very upset, and people sad and crying, and then we started to talk about how we going to. We saw that the Germans are staying permanently there, and we have to do something about it, or run away from Budapest, or go hiding. We just didn't know what to do. And my husband got already a letter from the army that he has to go into the army. He said, I'm not going, and he gave himself injections which make him very sick. So I called up the army people, and I said my husband cannot go because he has high temperature. They sent out a doctor, and when he came out to the house, he saw really that he had 41, which is a very 42 temperature, and he was like shaking and jumping from the sofa where he was lying. So they didn't force him to, they couldn't force him to go. And that went in every 2-3 weeks was another crisis in our life. Meantime, we were getting ready to have birth certificate, but forged
papers,
birth certificate, identification cards. And I tried a new hairdo which would make me less Jewish, and I put a cross on my neck. And my mother looked at me and she said, you'll never make it, because I was dark, and in Budapest the people, the Gentile people, they were very fair-skinned. My mother looked Gentile. She could hide because she had blonde hair, and I was after my father, and I looked Jewish. Anyway, then we tried, somebody came to us and said, if you give us money, we'll smuggle you through the front and we'll take you to Romania, where they were less strict laws against the Jews. And last minute we didn't go. We gave the money, we didn't go. Because we didn't feel that it's safe, and we were afraid. Someone was telling us that these people taking you to the forest, they take your money away and they will kill you. So that fell through. And just this time, 3 strangers came to our house, and they were Polish refugees. And they talked to my father, and they said that we escaped Poland, and they were telling us what happened to the Polish Jews, about the ghettos and concentration camps, and they are murdered, and they didn't live. It's going to be the same thing. Don't believe that because you're Hungarian, they're not going to do. This is the German behind them, and the Hungarian, they're good pupils, they learn fast. And so they said, we have an idea. We'll tell you how to make a bunker in your house where you live, and you can hide there. So we showed them our cellar, and he said, this is very convenient, but don't put too many people here, maybe 8 the most. So we made up that the male member of the family will go down in the bunker, and the rest of us try to find some places to go to. Well, I said I have to stay there. Everybody said I look the most Jewish among everybody, so I should stay in the bunker. And just turned out, but everybody had their place, and last minute they were cancelled out. So we knew that my son, who was 10 months old, cannot make it with us. So my mother said she has this very nice friend, and she's going to ask her, maybe she can help us out, and maybe for the summer just would take Alex in the country as her grandchild. And she talked to that wonderful lady. Her name was Kratochvil Therese. And right away she said, I will do that. I will take Alex, we'll go into the country, I will tell them it's my own grandchild. And she started to come every day to our house to take Alex for a walk, to know him better. And Alex was a very smart little boy. He went to her gladly, and he called her, we told her to call her Granny, short for grandma. So when she takes him, he will know what to say, and it won't be obvious for the other people, for the strangers. And so we knew that Alex will be taken very well, taken care of. And my uncles, of course, they wanted to be in the bunker, being males, and my grandfather and grandmother had to stay there. Only my two aunts, actually, we got them forged papers, and they went into the country. They had, one had 2 children, the other had 2 with the 4 small children. They were 2 years old children. They went in the country, small villages. And it was summer coming, so it wasn't very obvious that they are running away from Budapest. Things happening speed up because it came a law that everybody will have to go to the ghetto. They designated ghettos in the city of Budapest where the Jewish quarters were. And we knew we're not going, but we told the neighbors that we also have to go to the ghetto. Meantime, the first bomb fell to Budapest. The English bombers came. And the first only English bomber this time hit the building that my father owned. In close, wasn't too far away where the house we lived. It was his savings. He bought his apartment house and had 32 tenants in it. And the superintendent, super with his wife, they were very faithful, loyal employees. They constantly visited us, and they took care whenever it was a simcha in our family. They were always included, invited. And so one day when they came, my mother said, their name was Juliska and Robert Svoboda. Would you take this box? I have all my values, what I put away for my daughter, the silverware and beautiful handworks I made. And she said, of course. So this day when the big bomb hit that building, everybody was running down to the shelter of the house. And they, the couple, Juliska and Robert, they were on the way going down to the shelter when Mrs. Svoboda remembered that she forgot to bring the box down with her to the shelter. And she said, Robert, I must go back to bring this box down. I promised the Langs. He said, sure, I come with you. They went up, and while they were taking the box, the bomb fell, hit the basement, and 32 people who were down in the basement in the shelter, they died. And the only 2 people was the Svoboda couple. And of course, it was a miracle. In the eyes, they thought they did something good for us, and that God saved them. And when my father heard, he said, you must go and bring them here, and we have to give them shelter and home. So they moved in. By this time, I had my own apartment. They moved in my old room, what I occupied as a young girl, and they stayed with us. They had no apartment left. And when this terrible time came so that we have to go to the ghetto, they said, what could we help? What can we do? And so we said we will build a bunker, as these Polish people advised us, and you'll stay upstairs, we'll stay in the bunker, and you're going to help us survive. And we started to get ready, the bunker. We had all the time. My mother and grandmother made it sure, and they bought tons of flours and sugar and salt and pastas and noodles, and equipped the bunker with food. So on the end, it was enough for for 10 months we were living in this bunker, and it saved us from starvation.
So you started out to have 8 people in the bunker.
And on the and on the end period, it was everybody ran to that place because nothing was safe enough, and they didn't know we are in that street in Tömö utca, but we told every member of the family, if you are in danger, just go and look up the Svoboda couple who will be in our apartment while we are in the ghetto, and she will help you someday. Because we didn't want, if God forbid one member get caught, that she will tell about us where we are. And that's what happened. They got in dangerous situation, included a couple who were my parents' best friend. And in the danger, they ran to this couple and they said, what should we do? She said to them, you are in the perfect location. And she showed them the entrance of the bunker.
So that the bunker, the entrance to the bunker was in the house?
Was in my mother's bedroom.
Your mother's bedroom?
Under the night table.
Under the night table. This is tape 3, November 20th, 1995, interview with Susan Sreter. The interviewer is Marian Weisberg. The interview is taking place in Lawrence, New York, in the English language. So we are now at the beginning of your going into hiding and your bunker entrance you were describing, which was under the night